Hello and welcome back. Alright, so we finished up with our payment here, and all we need to do now is upload it to our live server, and then we can see whether it's going to actually work here. So what one thing we can do to test this before we go on the live server is to just give it the information that we think it should have, and then we can see how it handles that. So when I did the last payment test, this is the data that came in and was saved to file. So all we can do is copy this data. This is the same data we have on the thanks page here where we created a string. So we might as well just copy it from the thanks.php. So let me copy that, and we do, let me copy this here. And then let me go to my payment.php page. So for a moment, we're just going to imagine that we got the data here. So I'll paste this and then change that to data, like so. So data is equal to that. It's as good as we got the data from here, because obviously this will be empty, but then here it will be set to something, and then we can go ahead. Let me remove the file save because we don't need that. I just want to see if it's going to save properly in the database. Okay, so let's go back to our page here, and I'm going to type inside here and say payment, like so. Now let's make sure that in our database we don't actually have any records in that particular table. So I'm going to go to my PHP my admin eShop database, and let's open that real quick. So payments table, and let's check it's empty for now. That's good. And now let's hit enter. So we get unquote invalid parameter number of bound variables does not match the tokens. Okay, so what this error means is that excuse me here, let's come back here. What it means is that the items inside the array that I supplied here does not match the amount of items in the query. So it's just a matter of counting how many of these items are actually in here versus those that are in here. So here we'll see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So what are we missing here? Let me start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have more items here than we do here. So we missed one item here. So which is it? So we do have ref ID, we have event type, amount, description, status, first name, last name, email, pair ID. Okay, so that's the one missing right there. So let me copy that. Pair ID. Do we actually have that in the database? Let me come back here for a second. Pair ID. So we do have it. So copy that and make sure it's there. It doesn't really matter which order you add them. I can add it to the end as long as on the other side as well you add it to the end, and don't forget the full colon there. Okay, great. So let's give it another shot and refresh the page. Okay, so it's saying unknown column ref ID. Okay, so in here instead of ref ID, it's transaction ID, it's trans ID that we have. So let me remove the ref over here. I will select all references and let's change it to transaction ID, like so. Okay, awesome. So let's go back and let's refresh again. Ooh, unknown column description. Wait, we don't have a description? Wow. Oh, so it's replaced by summary, I think. Description. Wait a minute. There's a summary and then there's a description. Okay, so the thing is, the description of the item is going to represent the order ID. Okay, so the order number. So let's use that instead of description here. We're going to say order, what's that? Order ID. Is that a capital I? Oh, okay. All right, so it's going to be order. Let me undo that and select all references to it, except this one, of course. So here I'm just going to say order ID, and then I'll select these references here and do the same, order underscore ID. Awesome. Alrighty then, let's refresh one more time, prepare for more errors. So we see there are no errors anymore, and that fixes the problem. Very good. Now let's browse and see if we did get some data saved. And as you can see, it's awesome. Everything is saved. Not only did we save the raw data in here, we saved items in very specific places like here. But look at the date there. The date is 000, which means we forgot about the date. So let me just add the date to the end here, because that is important. Okay, so let's change this to date, and let's put the default date format YMDHIS, like so. Okay, and also we have to include it at the very end here. So comma date, and as well here comma full colon date. Very nice. So I'm going to come back here, go to operations, and truncate the database because I want the IDs to start from 0 again. So you don't have to do that. You can just delete the raw if you want, but I kind of like it this way. So let's refresh again. And once we refresh, we should have some information. Okay, very good. We have a date now. We have a transaction ID. Very good. And now the transaction ID is important because in case you want to go and verify with PayPal which transaction was which,